I feel like everything that needs to be said about femicide in Kenya has already been said. And it's not new. This is not something that has just happened. It keeps happening and nothing gets done about it. When Ivy was killed, we had an outrage all over the country. People were arguing and fighting and complaining about how gruesome that murder was, how unfair, how criminal the murder of Ivy was. But then after a while, that died down. And then somebody else got killed. And somebody else got killed after that. And another woman, and another woman, and another woman, and another woman. And now we're in 2024, barely 20 days in, and we already have 9 reported cases of women who have been killed. And most of them have been killed by men. Actually, I think all those 9 cases are women who have been killed by men. And on social media, everywhere people are talking, people keep saying, "Oh my gosh, women don't learn. Kwani they don't vet these men before they meet them. What is going on? Why are women so why are women always outside? Why are women drinking with these men? Why are women going to the Airbnbs?" So we started by blaming the Airbnbs, and then we moved to blaming Nigerian men because a lady was killed gruesomely by a Nigerian man. And then now we have another excuse. We always have another excuse about why a woman gets killed. But then nothing gets done. And we keep repeating the same thing over and over again. And the issue is, femicide is not just femicide on its own. It doesn't stand alone. It is very much fueled by the culture we live in. And also, it is part of the gender-based violence that is meted out on women in this country. If you ask the women you know in your life, they will tell you that at some point they have felt afraid or they have been assaulted in one way or another by a man. And I know somebody wants to tell me right now, not all men. Of course, it's not all men. But here's the thing. We as women don't know that it is not all of you. Because every time a woman has been catcalled on the street, it's not usually just one man. It's usually a group of men. And the men who are with this person who is catcalling a woman on the street, they don't stop him. When women were being stripped in the streets of Nairobi back in the day, when we had the My Dress, My Choice movement come up because of the stripping of women, it was never one man walking alone and stripping women. It was always a group of men. When women were being abused in buses, it was not all men, but it was a group of men. They were cheering on each other. When that woman at Limuru Road, just at the junction of Limuru Road and Wangari Maathai, when that lady was in the car, was being grouped by men and her clothes were ripped, it was not all men, but it was a group of men. And some of you, as men, have friends who abuse their girlfriends and their wives and their partners. And you don't call them out. You guys are still boys. You still hang out together. So, when you tell us that it is not all men, we really don't know what you guys want us to do with that information. You get? Because every time that these things happen, there's always a group of men. When it is one man, his boys don't call him out. His friends don't call him out. His friends don't hold him accountable. We laugh and make jokes on the internet about abuse and rape and treating women badly and stereotypes connected to women. So you guys are acting like birds of a feather by the way you're flocking together every time that something happens and you just band together. The fact that if something happens to a man and that man comes forward, let's say it's abuse, and a man comes forward, it's always the men who are taunting this man, humiliating him and shaming him. And it's always the women who come to the rescue of this man to talk about how abuse, gender-based violence, does not care whether you're a man or a woman. So you see, when people start bringing up this excuse of not all men, it really becomes a very exhausting conversation. We know it's not all men, but then you're not acting like you're not part of it. Being a bystander is a problem. You have to stand up and actually be counted when it matters. So anybody who is somewhere thinking right now, not all men, I know that's what you're thinking, but that's not the point. The point is that women are being killed. Women are walking around afraid. Women are getting assaulted. You could be walking down the street and something happens to you and you don't know who will come to your rescue. It's like women are not supposed to be outside. When we keep saying women have become too empowered, what does that even mean? What does that too empowered mean? And what has that got to do with murdering women? Like, the argument does not add up. Because ordinarily, when somebody is empowered, you don't go around killing them. That is not an excuse to kill somebody. That is not an excuse to abuse somebody. Like, these arguments I'm hearing on the internet are just making me so angry. And I know this entire podcast feels like a rant, and it kind of is. Because as a therapist who has worked with clients, some of them who have been victims of gender-based violence, this breaks my heart. Because every time these stories come up, it reminds them of the things that they have gone through. And most of these things they have gone through in the hands of men. We keep talking about how women are going outside by a certain hour. They should be in the house. Why are they going to the club at 3 a.m? Why are they wearing whatever they are wearing? You know, why are they drinking? Why are they hanging out with these men? Why are they going to Airbnbs? Some very random and unrelated conversations that have nothing to do with anything. Yeah? Because if your argument over why a woman is getting assaulted or killed is because she was outside, is because she was not wearing the appropriate clothes, whatever appropriate means, she was drinking, she was at a certain place at a certain time, then you're basically telling me that there should be behavioral sanctioning for women as well. Behavioral policing for women. There are things that women are not allowed to do. So you're telling me the outside is created for men when the darkness enters. And that does not make sense to me. We are policing women's freedoms. We are policing women's behavior. We are also discounting the fact that it has been repeatedly and repeatedly over and over again reported that most of assault and rape and femicide is carried out by people known to the victim. It's called intimate partner violence. It is the biggest percentage. The home remains the most dangerous place for women. So we can't keep saying the women were outside as if most of these things don't also happen in the household. Women get abused in their own homes. Women get abused when they're wearing deras, when they're wearing hijabs, when they're fully covered from head to toe. Women get abused when they are sober. Women get abused when they are drunk. Women get abused when they are at home, when they are outside, when they are everywhere. And some of these things are just very baseless arguments that I do not honestly understand. We keep saying that women are chasing money. They don't have their own money. As if we don't know most of our friends who are women who are working. Women still continue to be breadwinners in their homes. There are women who are carrying the household. There are women who are single parents. We are seeing women taking care of themselves. They have their own lands. They have their own homes. They have their own cars and money. But we keep pretending as if all women are chasing money. And even if they are, again, that is not a reason to kill somebody. Like, see, I don't understand if you guys understand that killing somebody, murder, abuse, all these things have no justification in any way. Everybody's life is sacred. This is not an issue of money. Let's not pretend that it is. That is just a sideshow that people are creating on the internet. This is not an issue of money. Stop talking about sex workers. It's a whole industry that has men and women. And sex workers are human beings. They do not deserve to be killed because of the work that they do. And if your argument is that a sex worker was abused or killed because of their sex work and you don't have empathy for that, then there's a problem with you. We don't see women as humans. We don't see them as adults to have their own brains to think for themselves. Stop blaming victims because of what they are wearing, because of where they are, because of what they are doing. Start holding perpetrators accountable. You can't use murder and sexual abuse as punishment for nonconformity. We need to really, really get serious. If you keep making excuses for murder and abuse, then it is obvious that you don't have a problem with murder or abuse. You have a problem with the victims. And that is a big, big problem. If your biggest chief complaint is the victim, not the act that was done on the victim, as long as you're part of the people who believe that it is women's fault to be abused, then you're part of the problem. You don't even have to abuse. Just believing that it is women's fault, that it is the victim's fault, is already part of the problem. And I know some of you will come here and tell me, oh, Jennifer, even some men get killed too. Men get abused, even by women. It is true. I'm not denying that. But again, I will ask you, what do we do as a people when men come forward and mention about the abuse they have suffered, what do you ordinarily do? We humiliate them. We shame them. We start questioning their masculinity. And it is often done by fellow men. So the fellow man will ask, aje sasa, kwani wewe ni mwanamke? Unachapwa aje? You know, ama how are you abused? When you can't fight for yourself and you're a man, you're the man of the house. Like we keep having very, very backward arguments, it is unbelievable. The more we keep arguing back and forth, oh my gosh, women stop doing this, stop doing this. Security starts with you. Those are just sideshows, and we all know it. We know that we are pretending. We know that we have a responsibility and a duty. But we choose not to do it because it is difficult. And that's why some of these issues will continue being rampant, because we are not taking responsibility. As a man, ask yourself, what am I doing to make this society safer? What am I doing to make this homestead that I live in safer? What am I doing to make the women around me feel safer? Because now women have to walk around feeling unsafe 24/7. We need to prepare ourselves for an attack at any time. When we leave our houses, we need to leave knowing if anything happens out there, how will I protect myself? We need to dress up in ways that will potentially not attract an abuser. It is very exhausting to walk around just carrying this burden 24/7 because you're afraid that a man is going to do something to you when you walk outside the street. It is also very exhausting to walk around 24/7 knowing that if that man comes home, he could be the perpetrator. He could be the person that hurts you in your own home. Men need to take a very, very, very serious look at themselves. You need to examine yourselves. There is a big, big problem. And it won't be solved with you making jokes on Twitter about women. It won't be solved with you blaming victims. It won't be solved with you asking for the other side of the story. We need to get very serious, by the way. I am so tired. As a therapist, I feel so exhausted twice, because for myself and for my clients. And for the clients that I'm going to see later. Because those clients are going to be impacted by these things that are happening right now. My clients are being impacted by the things that are happening right now. Because the abuse and murder of one woman does not just affect that woman who has been murdered. It also affects the society. The family around that woman, her friends, the people she knew, and society at large. So it has a ripple effect. And we all get affected. As women, we have to find a way to just be safe because we are realizing it's like we are on our own. It's like now everybody has become a suspect. We can't live like this, guys. We can't live like this. And you know it, and I know it, and everybody knows it. We can't live like this. Let's get serious. Let's get serious. Femicide is a serious problem in Kenya. Abuse of women is a serious problem in Kenya. Gender-based violence is a serious problem in Kenya. And it won't be solved with sideshows. It won't be solved with distractions of asking what was she wearing and where was she. It won't be solved with distractions about whether she's a slay queen or not. It won't be solved with distractions about whether she's a sex worker or not. All those are sideshows, and you know very well, deep down, you know what you're doing when you refuse to engage in a difficult conversation. Let's get serious, guys. I'm honestly very, very exhausted and very tired of this conversation. I just don't have it in me. We've just started the year, and it's already this bad. I wonder where we will be in 6 months. On 27th of January, there's a total shutdown of Kenya again. There'll be a march at Wanjohi Gardens. Show up. Show your support. Be an ally. Be part of the change. Don't be part of the problem. Refuse to be part of the problem. Fight. Fight for the women in your lives and for the women at large who exist in this world. Come, show your solidarity. Let's make a difference. Do not be left behind. May the souls of our sisters rest in peace.